Okay, Joseph,
Hi.
we are live. This is Steve Sandhuff, and I've got my friend Joseph here.
Yeah.
Joseph,
Hello.
how long have we known each other?
Oh, probably about 6 or 7 years, Steve.
All right, so we've known each other 6 or 7. Don't forget, you're going to have to talk a little bit loud
All right.
because this is not special microphones.
All right.
All right, so we've known each other 6 or 7 years. I would say probably the thing we have most in common is probably nature.
Right.
Trees,
Plants. Yeah.
trees, nature, and probably just general life.
Yeah.
Probably that's the extent of it.
Yeah.
But we've been friends.
We met on Craigslist. We did.
That is true.
That is true.
We
That
met
is
on
true.
Craigslist related
Yes.
to probably pawpaw trees.
Yeah, pawpaws and cherimoyas. Yeah.
Pawpaw, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was a successful Craigslist hookup. You could say here, as far as
platonic and
platonic, yes.
and straight
Platonic
and
plants.
straight.
Yeah.
So here's the story that you need from me. In the past, I've tried to talk with Joseph about perhaps life elsewhere in the universe. I don't think he was open-minded to that at the time. I tried to talk to Joseph about perhaps my thoughts on spiritual matters, and he was kind of closed-minded to that, so we never got anywhere with that. And I think that maybe because, should I use the word that starts with an A?
Atheist?
Atheist.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
how you atheist.
So you were atheist.
Absolutely. I've been an atheist for the my entire life, first 56 years of my life, but that has changed. I am. Let
me preface this. For the entire time I've known Joseph, Joseph doesn't have any mental health disorders that I can observe or that I've been told about.
Yeah.
So none of this should be thought of as a mental health disorder.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's definitely not. I've never been introduced that way before.
Yeah, well, you are now.
Yeah, well, okay. I've been. I come from a scientific background. My father was a chemist, and I cut my teeth working in the laboratory as a little kid. In fact, my father invented the glow stick. He worked on atomic bombs in the 50s during the Korean War. I went to Georgia Tech.
Graduated?
Yeah, I actually graduated too. Yes,
What kind of degree?
Actually, it's a management degree. I started out in chemistry, but changed to management, and I was on Dean's List. It was a good experience, but the point on that is I've been steeped in the scientific, engineering, rational, material world background. And yes, I've been an atheist my entire life, an atheist via agnosticism.
Not your entire life. You're still alive.
Yeah, well, for the first 56 years. And then something abruptly changed that last March. And that's when I actually did a drug that I had to manufacture. Here again, using my the laboratory background I had when I was a toddler, I had to do some basic organic chemistry to extract DMT from the Mimosa hostilis root bark, which comes from the Amazon, and also comes from the acacia wood, which those of you who are religious and have read the Bible maybe recall that the Ark of the Covenant, the tabernacle, all the wood that per God's orders and specs were made out of acacia wood. And there's a reason why that wood was so important. It contains a molecule called DMT, which is dimethyltryptamine, also known as the God drug or the God molecule.
Or spirit molecule.
A spirit molecule. And it is considered a Schedule I hallucinogen. But actually, my theory, I posit that it's not hallucinogenic at all. I think it's actually a portal. It's a portal to God. God happens to give most people a hallucinogenic experience, but not necessarily does he do that. But most people, that's the experience. And they see something quite amazing, something that is definitely an intelligent being. It is not just some hallucination. It's far beyond that. Your mind is witnessing something that is responding to your thoughts and is actually a lot more clever than you are. Yeah. So anyway, I manufactured DMT successfully. Made some really good stuff actually. And be aware, it is against the law. You can go to jail. I have proven that. I spent the last 6 months in the Cobb County Jail, which is probably one of the worst counties to have a drug charge against.
Cobb County where?
Cobb County, it's in Marietta, Georgia. If you're going to do drugs, go elsewhere. You're going to be creative, go elsewhere. They're very backward, conservative, and wrong. But at any rate, I spent 6
Now,
months.
did you sell this to anybody at all?
No. This
Did
is
you
only.
provide it to anybody else?
No. I manufactured it only because I don't have drug connections, and besides, DMT is hard to find. It's kind of obscure. It's a niche market, and I didn't have the right connections, but I did have the right talent, and so I was able to go online and order this beautiful Mimosa hostilis root bark. It's actually this purple wood. It's this deep royal. I've never seen this color purple before in wood. It's amazing colored. Comes from Amazon via the Netherlands, Amsterdam. There's a little shop there that's able to send that to me, and that can be sent over here legally. Customs will quarantine if they realize what it is, but you don't get in trouble. You only get in trouble when you start extracting it, which
It came straight from the wood?
yeah, it exists in the wood. It's about a 0.5% or 0.05%. It's a small percentage is actually in the wood, but basic organic chemistry, you can extract it out through what's called an acid-base
That's
method
fine.
of
Let's
extraction.
not go into too much detail,
Sure.
just so that we can keep it from anybody saying that we're sharing knowledge on how to
Sure.
do it.
Well, if anybody is interested, all you have to do is just go online, just
Right.
Google
Exactly.
how to do the text
Right.
at TEK,
Yeah.
and you'll find lots of articles on it. That's already well published. And actually, I'm not promoting that people do DMT. I'm just really relaying my experience,
Right.
which I did kind of as initially as a recreational aspect, but found that actually has a much
Deeper.
much deeper, yeah. And I would say that now I'm not so much a believer. I mean, you can say I'm a believer, but that's actually falls short. I consider myself more a knower that God exists, and that's an important distinction, I think. There's no doubt. There's no chance. It's knowledge. It's firsthand knowledge. I have seen.
You have been in the presence.
I've been in the presence, yes, yeah. And I've seen God in two different forms. I'll talk about one form, and that's his initial way that it's God appears as light in that form, yeah, God is good. It's kind of angelic, yeah. And I
All
call
right.
God she for. I vacillate between saying she and he. It's definitely it doesn't really work, you know.
I think you said tiger shrimp amoeba.
That's kind of the other form. Yeah. It has kind of a tiger pattern. It's kind of translucent with light going through it, pulsing energy, but kind of not enigmatic form. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us more about.
And doesn't have eyes. Doesn't have. A guy doesn't have legs. Doesn't need to walk around in this dimension he's in. And basically, that dimension. I view heaven now as being a big box, basically. Our reality, our universe, is inside a box. It's a smaller box, and outside of that box, enclosing all that, is heaven. And we're just stuck and confined inside this smaller box, unless you happen to do something like the God molecule, and then you can go visit the larger dimension for a brief amount of time, and then you come back to this reality. Yeah. So it kind of augments your reality and lets you see the bigger picture.
So the first time, tell us. Let's see where we're at on time. We're at 8 minutes. We got about 4 more minutes in this
Sure.
section of the interview.
Uh-huh.
Tell us about your first experience, or when you first.
Well, at first
felt-
I didn't. It wasn't breaking through. It was just more of a hallucination. It was actually at a certain point. I'd actually done it for a couple of months before the hallucinations abruptly changed. And once they've changed, they have forever changed. I don't think I'll ever go back to the earlier, which is more just kind of recreational, kind of fun, kind of woo-woo. Now I think I'm always going to see God. And I don't think that God normally reveals himself to most people for whatever reason. So in other words, if you do DMT, a lot of people do report seeing an intelligent being. Sometimes they report just seeing busy, very busy.
Spirits.
It's busy. It's just like a kaleidoscope type effect. That's definitely just going to town, and that's kind of the, I guess, stage one. But I, for whatever reason, see things a little bit different than that now, and I think I'm a little bit unique in that regard, and I don't know why.
All right. So what about your health?
My health is actually. I mentioned it's a portal. God can also use DMT to actually perform miracles and repair you. Specifically, I smoked for about 20 years, and I know I had some damage to my lungs. One of these DMT episodes, God kind of took me and dipped me into this river of energy, and it was the best feeling I've ever felt. It just felt like this energy just rushing through my body and cleansing it, and I didn't want to get out of that river. I wanted to stay in it, but then I got yanked back out of it, and immediately my lungs were cleared. I think that river took away all the tar and buildup and gunk that I had in my lungs. I don't think that actually did the repair from damage as far as cell structure at that time. I think it was just a cleansing river. God has subsequently been, I think, doing some repair work on my lungs, as well as he's been working on my arteries and clearing up the atherosclerosis, the plaque buildup. Heck, I'm 57 years old now, and I've certainly abused my body over the years, and just age has done that too. It's funny when my eyes, I have new lenses in my eyes. I've watched God replace them, and you can feel God working on you when you're doing. I can when I'm doing DMT. And what's interesting about it is he takes a shotgun approach. He doesn't just focus on one thing. He does kind of a smorgasbord of you feel him tugging down here, tugging up here, doing working on various parts, working on your liver, kidney, and it's a little bit disconcerting sometimes because he's in so many different spots. You can feel him all over, but it's a great feeling too.
All right, so I guess we're going to end this section up right now on this thought, and we'll to discuss what else we'll discuss for the next interview.
Whatever you want to ask me, Steve.
All right, there,
I'm an
Joseph.
open book.
Thanks for your time today,
Yeah, sure.
and appreciate sharing your information with me. And really good to see you
Great
and
to see
talk
you
to you
too.
after so much time.
Yeah, take care.